Hey everyone, my name is Claire Opar and I'm the 5th grade teacher here. Today I'm kind of just going to tell you a little bit about what we do in 5th grade curriculum-wise throughout the year in all of our subjects. So I'm going to start off with math. So at the beginning of every year, we kind of review from 4th grade, just towards the end of the year, what students did, just kind of as a refresher coming back from over the summer. So we'll start off with whole numbers, multiplication, and division. From then we'll move into addition and subtraction for fractions and multiplication and division of fractions. After that, we will move into algebra. So it's your basic algebra when it is replacing a letter with a number or vice versa. Then we'll move into percentages, discounts, taxes, interest. And from then, we will end our year with geometry and different properties and shapes and figures. We'll also touch a little bit on mass and volume towards the end of the year. And at the very end of the year, I like to do a couple of project-based learning activities just so students can kind of see math in a different way rather than just me up at the board teaching, learning out of their books, things like that. So next for reading, I use a curriculum called Journeys. So with Journeys, every week we have a different lesson and different skills that we're working on. So each week we'll have a read aloud that we'll read to students. We have an anchor text that our story is based off of for the week and all of our questions, our tests, our comprehension skills, everything like that. We also have grammar each week where we focus on adjectives, different types of sentences, pronouns, etc. From there. We also have a test each week. So students will be tested over the anchor story using the different skills and things we've learned throughout the week, such as like main idea, details, fact, opinion, author's purpose, point of view, things like that. They'll also be tested on grammar. And if students are struggling or if they're having a lot of difficulties within these different skills and strategies, I'll pull them aside and we'll work together on those certain things. For writing, I break writing apart into different quarters. So for the first quarter, we focus on narrative writing. So at the beginning, we'll talk about writing letters, we'll talk about writing short stories, and we'll spend the entire quarter learning how to write narrative pieces. And our final culminating activity for narrative writing is writing a fictional narrative. So students will break apart the tiny little parts, and towards the end, we'll focus on having a full, complete paper that students will then publish and share with their class or their families. Second and third quarter, we work on informational writing, so write like research papers. We start off talking about how informational writing is different than narrative writing and how we research things so that our papers are fact-based rather than opinion-based. So the second quarter, we write a paper over any Olympic sport. So students work on researching, writing questions, kind of diving into different topics, and their final paper is about an Olympic sport. Then moving into third quarter, we have a big project called Academic Fair. So this is when students can research anybody from the time from the early explorers all the way through the American Revolution. So they'll choose their person, they'll write their own questions, they'll kind of guide their own research through this after learning kind of what to do in the second quarter. And their final paper in the third quarter will be to write a research paper over whoever it was that they chose for their topic. Then finally in fourth quarter, now I focus on opinion writing. So we talk about how opinion is now different than informational or narrative writing. So we start off as a class writing an opinion paper together about zoos. So whether students are for or against zoos, they'll research, they'll kind of form their own opinion, form their own basis for their paper. They'll write their paper, and then we'll work on writing an opinion paper from a topic that I've given them. So they'll have different choices, and we'll move on from there. And they'll, again, set their opinion, kind of follow through with it, and try and persuade their readers on why they should think like they do. And lastly, in social studies, we always start at the beginning of the year with colonies and the early explorers. So we talk about the explorers coming from Spain to America, how they colonized, what happened with the Native Americans. Then we'll move into the 13 colonies. So beginning the colonies developing. And finally, from there, we'll move into the Revolutionary War. So we talk about the lead up through the war, the actual war, and then what happened because of the war. That's through second quarter. Third quarter, again, we focus on academic fair. So we're still doing that research in our paper, like I talked about a couple minutes ago with the early explorers. Kind of ties into social studies, so we'll continue to research whoever it was that students chose for their topic in social studies, and we'll also cover that in writing. So it's kind of like a dual subject activity. And then after academic fair, we move on to the Civil War. So again, kind of talk about the lead up to the Civil War, what happened in the Civil War, and I kind of just touch on it. I don't go super deep into it. They'll do that more in middle school. And finally, after we learn about the Civil War, we'll work on junior achievement after spring break. So students will learn all about the economy, what it means to create and start and develop a business. They will create and start their own business, and they'll work on kind of like a collaboration with 4th grade to go to BizTown, which is like the junior achievement miniature fake city. So students always have a lot of fun with that. I think that's all I have for 5th grade. We do a lot of projects throughout the year. We go on a lot of different field trips in a normal, typical year. So yeah, hope you're looking at Rivermont, and I hope you decide to come here.